Rising, how are you all doing? I'm recording the Twinflame union or Twinflame reading today, as the other reading wasn't uploaded very well. I did an hour reading and only 7 minutes came out of it. So this is the new reading for this upcoming week. So, wow, beautiful. Let's see. Interesting. Wow. Beautiful. Well, we're going to the mind space of the divine masculine. There's spiritual mentoring coming in for you. There's equality, stability, wisdom, experience, and the counsels. And when I tune into the counsels had their word in my meditation. All ego structures, strong ego structures, don't let me say ego structures, strong ego structures will fall, because the ego, we need the ego to have that balance. But an overly active ego that goes to control, manipulation, that will fall. That will fall aside. And because of that, the spiritual mentoring and the spiritual activation becomes stronger and stronger. And it comes from the elders. The elders saying, you know, this is a time we leaping already into the 5D. We are shifting all for a long time to that 5D program. I think already from within the 60s, even earlier, I think, because even Bob Dylan and the Doors were already singing about it. So it's a long time that we're already trying to make that structure from 3D to 5D. And it's about equality. It's about the balance between the masculine and the feminine energy, the emotions and the mind. And that all needs to come down to a balance, you know, not one is higher than the other, not that one is higher than the other. Overreaction of emotions is, you know, it creates drama. You know, that's just it. Overreaction of emotion creates drama. But also the controlling that is, you know, can create that drama. So we need to go back to that balance within ourselves and ground it more and more. So that's what's going on in a masculine's mind space, you know, that is, he starts to experience more stability, more wisdom, about the balance, about the fifth dimensional realm, and the experiences that he receives from our spiritual realm, that is more getting more activated within him. So in his heart space, the Lemurian guide, the sister, the friend, the teacher, the infinite and universal love is in his heart space, you know, that guides him to that path of healing. So that is very very interesting. There is this this energy of unconditional love that brings that balance, you know, back to him. Not the ego, not maybe the masculine thinks that the ego is more masculine. No, it's more the action that creates the masculinity, not the ego, not the mind. it's the action that creates the stability and the union between the masculine and the feminine energies. It's not always about the intellectual, or not always about how much I can control, how strong I am, but it's more in the action. And the divine masculine and that strong control system, that is falling apart. So the masculine starts to see, okay, the feminine has higher standards, you know, and if I want to be with that woman, I need to level up. And that is what is going on. But in his heart space, he's seeing her as that soft, gentle, unconditional love, teacher, friend, lover. You know, it's the infinity that is in his heart space. It's that soft temple priestess that gives him the codes of where he needs to go to that fifth dimensional realm. And that's the difference. There aren't many of us that can go to all these places, you know, that can go to all these realms, and not always above, but also very deep below, you know, to transform the elders, to transform the systems and the earth grid, what is needed to be transformed, so we can rise to that fifth dimensional realm as a collective, where we're heading anyway, you know, sooner or later. But of course, there are those structures that try to, you know, control that. And there is a big healing coming on, you know, on the collective. So the gentleness of love and the realignment and the transformation, and you give and receive clear healing and energies, divine feminine, you know, and that's that the masculine sees that the divine feminine is healing, and that's how the divine feminine sees that the masculine is healing in that whole process, because we're not done yet, but we're ready every day. We're not done yet, but we're ready every day. As we live in the moment, you know, then every new beginning starts in the now, and not in the future. Or yeah, we talk about divine timing, but divine timing is in the now. So it's a lot of things that's shifting and creating in this space. And the divine masculine and divine feminine know that the union is here, that it is the infinity sign that brings them together and go on that journey together in different spirals, you know. And the masculine and the feminine, they walk that same path, that same healing path. Divine feminine, vision of union. So divine feminine knows and sees already the focus of that union, and she's focusing on the light, on the clear seeing, on what's clear, on what's in front of her, letting go of the illusion of the mind. As we all know, our mind creates an illusion of a situation or a union with someone that is that makes it only bigger, and that makes it an illusion. So the divine feminine is not getting trapped anymore in that illusion. In the talks, divine feminine is, okay, I want to see your action. I want to see the action towards me. I want to see the action what you're able to create, you know, what your words say, you know, your actions shows us and gives us the proof of that. And there is a lot of pineal gland activation. And, you know, as we know today, it's the second portal of the 888, of the 88 portal, the second one. So it's really, really a powerful activation today. So the pineal activation, the pineal gland get activated, that can reach to higher levels. We can go to the Syrian, the Palladian, the Acturian, the Andromeans, the Lyran, wherever you need to go. It's all connected with each other, and they get information. Divine Feminine gets huge downloads of activation codes, what will happen and what needs to be transformed within them and within the masculine. So they work for the feminine on certain cases, and they work for the masculine on some levels, and it has to do with, you know, if we ever want to be coming as one, as also as a humanity, not just as the twin flames, because we know the twin flames, when the twin flames come together, you know, a whole different unity will exist. But what I hear in the lost cloak, you also need to be aware that you're still here, that you're still wearing that cloak, you know, of an identity that you got from a programming from your parents, from your grandparents, from the people around you, from the school, from, you know, from systems that are still going on. And we have to let go of those old identities, of just an identity of who you thought you were. You know, if you think that you were small, or you had traumas in your past childhood life, you know, those traumas needs to be removed out of your system, and it will never goes away, you know. We always will have a residue of that, because we need that residue to be able to see the red flags in other situations. So actually our traumas are our help, you know, they are our help to move forward and to create another reality for yourself. So that last cloak will fall away, and you will realize at the same time that that cloak is also a protection. You know, that old program or the trauma was a protection, because you feel that in your system, you feel that in your body. You feel, okay, your body responds even quicker than your mind can respond. Because if we like what we see, for instance, you know, our mind goes blank, but our body still reacts on things that are not pure, that are not, that there's something behind it. So that is what is happening in the heart space for the Divine Feminine. She still carries the cloak. She still has that cloak of protection around her. So, and she realized that system is still going on. And it has nothing to do with fear, you know. If a Divine Masculine, our intuition know sharp enough when things are real, when things are not real, when you're wanted or not wanted, when the things are very clear for you, and when it gets confused, you know, then your whole body starts to react. So that's what it is. And the third card is ether and matter. It's you spiritualize matter. Everything what in spirit comes to you, and what is for you in this you materialize it. For instance, if spirit gives you beautiful information and an upload, or you receive some amazing codes, then a new life can start. You can spiritualize it, put it into matter, and you give it a new life. Sparkles. It could be that when you enter, into this twin flame unions, that the sparkle starts to move and starts to create between you two, and you feel that. You feel those sparkles, and it's bedding in the light. Those energies are already in the light manifested, are already manifested in the fifth dimensional realm. And out of that, if you are on that same frequency or alignment of the bedding of being in the light, let's see it that way, being in the light, then that create the divine union can exist. Anything else that is not in that alignment, won't sustain. And how hard it is, we need to say no. Because if your life is going this direction and the other life is going that direction or that direction, it's a no-no. It's a no-no. And there is where the healing starts. In the now and in the present, it can be so beautiful, it can be so amazing. But you don't just look at this present moment. If you're going into union with someone, you want to see a bit of the future, the curve where it's going, And if you see, okay, I see in that and that program that's still running, there needs to be change. And before if that change is not made yet, I'm not able to go there. So that's what the divine feminine is feeling in that frequency. So and then it's not it's not a shame to say goodbye to someone, because in a later stage of your life, it can be come together, worked out, but you still know, okay, we can't come together because you go this direction, I go that direction. You have your work to do, I have my work to do. And, still that unconditional love can be there. No, not of an, and then it's still a union, because the egos and the emotions gets balanced out. Okay, so it has more to do with energies than with person. Energies within yourself is the masculine and feminine in balance with each other. Sometimes it does, sometimes it's not, and then you need to work on yourself to get those two back in balance. And you see that so many people are still doing the things to us and for us, so we can grow and so we can learn. And sometimes they don't even have a clue that they're your teacher, that they are people in your life that are coming to teach you something, or they are just a blessing, you know. And it has nothing to do being further or not further, or more or less. No, it has just to say that you're just not in alignment at that moment. At that moment, you know. What supports the masculine? What supports the feminine? The dolphin baby supports the masculine. I also hear divine masculine needs to play a little bit more, you know. He is not done with with the playing, you know. Maybe he's still, now he's going back to his childhood and going back to the playground and say, okay, I need to play a little bit more. You are from a Lemurian original, divine masculine. You're in flow, you're timeless, you're adaptable, you're free, and you're taking your time. And that's exactly what is needed. Taking your time to rediscover who you are. You know, you're not your parent, you know, you're not the school system, you're not the intelligence they told you that you are. You know, if for instance, we are living in a society that papers, certificates are so important, you know, and you get judged on that. But what if that whole system wouldn't exist? And you see it on a different way. It's just a piece of paper that comes out of a printer that printed your name, that you are capable for something or not. Who the fuck did you give your power to? To say that you are worthy because some printer printed it on a piece of paper, you know, or the people behind it. That doesn't make any sense to me, you know. It's a piece of paper, nothing less, nothing more. Yes, you did the work and you achieved something, but that comes from within. And nobody actually, they should throw, and that's what's happening in the fifth dimensional realm. All these over control systems are going out of the window, you know. And you don't need to conform to that. So you can say, okay, this is what I did, this is who I am, but you don't need to conform yourself, you know, with a piece of paper who you are. You don't. It's a lot of crap, and that's where the separation starts. You're good, you're not, because you did the training, but they don't look for your experience. It's a lot of bullshit, and because of that, they gave you the impression that you were not enough and that you couldn't be doing the job. Or more, what's behind it, you can do the job, but you don't get paid for it because you don't have the paper. Isn't it a weird life? Isn't it a weird thing? That whole system is crumbling down. And we all know it. We all know it. Cosmic heart source. That will support the divine feminine. Source of all. This is your true home. Source of all is your true home. Just be and have this wonderful heart connection with the source and who you are, you know. and where you're coming from. You know exactly where you're coming from. You know exactly where you're heading, what is capable for you to do, you know, and where you want to go and where you can't go, because that's also what you feel. Some sites or where you need to go, they have a kind of a restriction, a kind of invisible boundary that is not good for your energy. So you will feel it. When you're entering, is like, or you ask permission to enter and you feel, okay, no, I can't be here. This is not for my highest good to step into that sacred site or whatever. Most of the time it's a site that has different energies than sacredcy. Okay, so you know exactly what to do with what kind of people you're dealing. Sometimes you get really disappointed because people say and do this, and you think, oh, you're on the same vibration, and then it means that they're only talking about the dark. Okay, and then you know what is within is without. Okay, this is this. I'm going to the other cards for the Divine Masculine and see what is going on there. What is the universe telling the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine? Inner Earth, you survived this. You know, you already survived this whole journey. It was an intense year. So new solutions and new beginnings are coming ahead. So, and that has to do with your inner earth, you know, your inner being, going into the caves. You know, when you go into a cave, know that within that cave, so many energies are there that are transforming your whole system. It transforms your new codes are coming in and new things are coming in. So the Divine Masculine is asked, and the Divine Feminine, to go into that inner earth, go into, you know, and that's where we're heading, you know, with Mabon next month. We're slowly going down back to the inner earth. And you will survive it, you know. Don't be afraid of the winter times, of that the light gets, or the days get shorter. So it's a time of new solutions and new beginnings. One card for the Divine Masculine. Wow, that was a flyer. Wow, the void. Being in the void. Being in the nothingness. Okay. Divine Masculine. The void. Stop. Embrace the winter. You are in the great cosmic womb. It could be that Divine Masculine needs to stop and say, okay, I need to go within. Embrace the darkness. Embrace, sometimes, a few times in your life, you will go through the dark night of the soul And after that darkness, the light is coming in and will push you further. You know, actually what we are now is we are still in that birthing. You know, we're still in that womb space here, like the cosmic womb. And next year we're coming out of that. So know what is being made in that cosmic womb is something really, really big, and your body and your system is feeling it. So if you look within that cosmic womb, there's this little dot of light. You know, concentrate yourself on that dot of life, you know, and give yourself that hypnotic energy. When you're closing your eyes, you still see that dot, you know. So give that void, give that cosmic womb, give it light, give it energy in your inner vision. Okay, for the divine feminine, weight of the world, boundaries. Oh, we talked about boundaries 2 days ago with Oshun, um, to give the boundaries of not carrying the weight of the world. You know, let it go. It's not yours to carry. Like it's not that much of the weight of the world, but it's more like people that come into your life and come with emotions and with situations about probably about other people, third people, third, you know, parties, or yeah, and something else that is not yours. You don't have to listen to it. You can say, stop, I appreciate your time and that you want to explain it, but it's not mine, and I don't want to take on that energy. So you can also, you know, remove yourself totally from a situation. You don't need any explanation, you don't need any words, nothing. You know, you just remove yourself out of the situation. And that's more the fifth dimensional realm, because you don't need to explain yourself for somebody else's disrespect, for instance, or if they don't respect you, or you know, they're keeping the same pattern and keeping the same pattern going. So and that's not yours to carry. So just let go of that energy, you know, and what is going on in the world. It's not ours to carry, but it's us that can change it. And that's a different story. The more we come in balance, the more we start respecting each other as masculine and feminine, that we are different, that we have different views, that we see the things different, and bringing their inner masculine, inner feminine into union. You know, instead the masculine is going here and the feminine is going there, or the feminine is going here with her emotions and her drama and all the stuff, and try to manipulate the things because of crying and in the victimhood or whatever. You know, you bring it down to balance, and you balancing it out, you know. When you're still in the drama mode, I had some drama around me last week. I just distance myself. I get out. I don't need any drama from other people in my life, so they can manipulate a situation. I'm not going there. It's done. We had that time. And that's why this one is coming in, the cloak. You know, you have that experience, you had that, you had those journeys already, and that's the cloak that protects you. Okay, so no more drama in the fifth dimensional realm. Done with. Love, harmony, balance. love, harmony, balance. Okay, and then I have the rebel cards. What are the sacred rebel cards saying for the divine masculine? For the divine feminine. The love that comes in asks you to make conscious connections. Conscious connections. Not the old way of, oh, I like that, I'm going for it. Without knowing what you're doing, you know, to be conscious about the choices that you make, divine masculine. I see divine masculines already changing to that. You know, for instance, the masculine that gives you hope, and there is no way of hope or let you fall in love with them, you know, that is just a 3D coward energy, because that's all only for your own admiration. You know, if you make a conscious choice, you know, to be with someone, you know, then you throw everything overboard and you go for the balance and the one you love. You don't switch from one to another, you know, you don't switch. And that's what is getting more difficult for the divine masculine, because the divine feminine is done with, let's see how it goes. Let's see how this goes. No, we're not going that way anymore. You know, it's a commitment. You commit or you're out. Then you're just not ready. No hard feelings, no harm done. We're moving on. And that is what is going on with the divine feminine at the moment. You know, so the divine masculine can make a choice. You know, most of the time he can't make a choice. Listening for the truth. Go to the ocean, go into nature, go within and listen for truth. You know, sometimes your heart is saying so much more than your mind is saying, you know. Sometimes it's very difficult to see who rules the most, because when the heart says yes, the mind always starts to argue why it's a yes and why it's not a no, you know, and you need to feel into that. And then that cloak of protection that is seeing all the things that needs to be seen is there. Doesn't mean you don't love that person anymore, because the love is always there. The love is an energy. It's not always for a person or, you know, directed towards a person, because it's an energy. Love is an energy. And if you can't understand it and you see that unconditional love as something personal, well, then you're already on the wrong side of your mind, because then you're not in the heart space. Then you can receive that love and say, oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you so much that you care about me. But it doesn't mean that you need to be in union and in love for that. Yeah? Listen to your heart. Listen to your soul. Listen to the universe. That carries all the truth that you need to know. Okay. Let's see what Oshun has to tell us. Oshun, beloved Oshun. Such a powerful goddess. Such a powerful goddess. The goddess of the beehives. The goddess of connection. Of creation. Of abundance. And I see the feminine does so much work in ceremony, and I'm so excited to see how more men are creating men's circles, you know, to how to be with a woman, how to treat a woman, how to be their authentic self, and that those two are coming together. You know, the women are far more ahead with all the ceremonies, and now the masculines are coming up, and that is an amazing thing to see. For the divine masculine, ocean of resurrection, rebirth, transformation and renewal. Wow, you transformed yourself, the divine masculine, from that inner wounded child with all that trauma, and just holding that space for yourself while nobody could see you or feel you. And you have that rebirth by being vulnerable. The more vulnerable you become, you know, and show little things of yourself because you have a feeling you're safe, that will make the transformation and the renewal within you. And that is being seen. It's been seen by Oshun. You know, she gives you the butterfly wings, you know, to spread your wings and fly, because the transformation makes you fly. Divine feminine. Oshun, the scandalous. She's so funny. She is full of color, full of laughter, and shows herself exactly how she is. You know, goes in all those colors, and is that extravagant person that she is, and the strength that she has. Brazen, audacious and fearless. Be that fearless, you know, and go and blaze everything and everyone away. Be that outrageous person, you know, in love, in laughter, in joy, in creativity, how to explore yourself and who you are. You don't have to be ashamed of that. It's beautiful to be who you are and still be accepted, you know. And you don't need to be accepted for the people that see you. That's not a thing. It's more like I don't care what other people think of me, you know. I just do the things that I want to do, and I do it with power, I do it with grace, and I don't give a damn what you think about me. It only has to see, you know, how you think about yourself, and you're projecting that onto me. So that is the thing that you can do, being that bold, fearless, outrageous, beautiful woman and goddess that you embodied at that time, you know. So go for it, divine feminine, go for it. And one more for both the masculine and the feminine. Unlock the gates. Ooh, are we carrying the codes, right? Freedom, breaking barriers, unleashing potential. You got the key to unleash all your potential that you have within yourself. You know, no restrictions of any papers, of people, you know, that tell you that you're not good enough or just not there yet. You know, sometimes we just go uh, with where everybody is going. You know, there is such a huge shift, and it's not being, if you're not there yet, you're not good enough. No, it's just not the experience that you had, that you need to be where you are, where most of the people are now. And don't worry about it, because eventually the whole humanity is moving there to the fifth dimensional realm, or to other thinking, or being more spiritual, or more awakened, or more conscious, or whatever, you know. So um, break those barriers, you know, break those barriers for yourself, where you say, okay, I'm walking against the door with my head, and what is that barrier I need to look at? And you know, when you're going within, you have the key to open that door that is still closed. You know that you have the key, and that you can unlock all doors, you know. And most of the time it is within that inner child. That inner child has the key. So again, it's the inner child that comes up, you know, in this reading, for the divine masculine and the divine feminine, both of them, because they're still carrying those codes um, of the third dimension. We still carry those codes. We still have it within us. You know, one day, oh shoot, one day we are in the fifth dimensional realm, and the other day we are in the third dimensional realm. So sometimes there are those barriers, and the only thing we have to do is go within meditation, and before you know it, psst, you're up there, you know, you're back. And that's the most beautiful thing of it, because if you're not in union in this realm, you know, you can go to the fifth dimensional realm and talk to your counterpart there, you know, because both of your higher selves are still looking and searching for each other, you know, to communicate. If it's not able to do it here, it is able to do it there, unless you're being blocked out by the higher source. You know, sometimes there's a higher source that says, no, I don't want communication for you both at all. You need to heal first. You need to do the healing before, you know, I let you come back together and, you know, start anew. Because the way you behave towards each other is not a good deal. So, and when you know that, and when you are going within and you transform those energies, and most of the time for the masculine has to do with the father energy, for the feminine with the mother energy, or vice versa, you know, work on those issues, so you can unleash your potential, because everybody has so much more potential than we think. And we all carry those codes. We all have those keys, you know, to open the door and saying, okay, now I'm opening that pathway, and I'm still walking my path. You do whatever you want, and you're going your path, because they probably need to discover some things before that union is coming in. And sometimes it's just an activator, sometimes it's just a fake twin, sometimes, and you never know. So you know when you're in it, or you just step out of it, you know, you're in it, and then there's a separation coming, And then it's where it starts. What do you see? What are you reflecting on? What are you feeling in this? And then you go to examine your feelings and what are those feelings meaning for you. And then, you know, then there is that key that opens and unlocks that door that you thought, oh, I'm trapped in this. I'm going to be trapped in this. It's not your ego. It's what's coming from within. It's coming from source. After the healing, you can open the door and move it out of the way and move through. So that's what is happening for the divine masculine and the feminine at the moment. But that's also what it has to do with the overly control systems. What is going on? And I'm talking about our control systems, because we have those programs still running on the background, you know. Yeah. Let's see what the creatrix of the awakened has to say. But for most of you, this is the month of union. This is the month of transformation. The biggest transformation of all is the Lion's Gate. A lot of things are happening in the Lion's Gate. We get a lot of assistance of the White Lions at the moment. They are rushing into the Divine Feminine's aid at the moment for protection and guidance, to keep them safe, to get them into shelters. So there is a lot of help on the way for the Divine Feminine and children. Wow, keep on going. Did somebody use my cards? Yes. Oh, that's interesting. We had that card before. Creatrix Awakened. I choose conscious and conscious creation. So that is also what the other cards of the Sacred Rebels said, you know, about conscious choices. Make conscious choices for yourself. I choose. I do it conscious, and from there out, I create. And that's the egg, the cosmic egg, where you're connected with, you know, new beginnings, opening up, starting anew for the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine. So it's really, really powerful where you are at. So it's all your choice, Divine Feminine and Divine Masculine. For Divine Masculine this time, you choose where you want to go. You choose where you want to head. If you want more action, you have to put in the action. You know, if you make a conscious choice, create it. You know, make that creation come to life. And know, why are you doing it? Why are you making that choice? Why are you why want you to create this? What is your why? Why are you doing this? Are you doing it for yourself? Are you doing it for somebody else? Are you because you want a certain outcome? Know what your choices are. Know your why. And then things will shift and you know, create for you. It will come out such a burst of energy if you're more conscious about the choices that you made, instead of, oh, I like that one, it feels okay at that time, and then you go with it, and in 8, 9 months later, you know, everything falls apart again. That's not a conscious choice, because you feel and you know already in the beginning, is this going to work? If you look at all the details, you know, it takes you 3, 4 months to know each other, and in that moment you already feel, sometimes you feel it already with the first date or the second date, you already know. So then make that conscious choice about it. Yeah. I know the divine feminine, um, most of the time she knows right away, this is something that can go that direction or it goes that direction. So why do so many women friend zone men? That's one of the reasons, because something is off. You know, they take them in the friend zone, and they say, okay, you're not good to be a partner for me, because down the road I see some issues that will come up, that is not good for both of us. And then it's too hard to let go, or they still want to have that friendship with that person, you know. So also in that kind of way, we need to really see, you know, if we cut off things right away and, you know, move on with our lives and letting those people go, or keep a thread going on. That's also a conscious choice, because then there is, in the back of the mind, there is this probably a program going that says, oh maybe, get out of the maybe, get out of the maybe. You want to know certain. Otherwise you get breadcrumbs. Otherwise you get the little pieces that he gives you, and you say, oh, but that feels so good, you know. And then after that you don't get nothing, and you make yourself totally desperate and horrible, in getting in a horrible feeling for experience that, you know, for that little bit of hope. Don't go there. Divine feminine, don't go there. And that is the yeah, we call it the breadcrumbing. So don't go in the breadcrumbing. And in that friend zoning, you know. It's good to care about people and to take care of people, but don't give them the intention that it can be more. Because that's why men hang around women for such a long time. You know, they're just friends. But if they get the opportunity, they will, you know, to share the bed with them. But it's ending up nothing, nowhere, no man's land, you know? It's not that they're having a crush or in love with them, because otherwise they would have voiced it to you. Okay? Get one. The Jaguar Council. Wow, she probably was already out. Audacity, synergy, and stewardship. You know, be in that synergy with the masculine. be in that same creation, walk that same path. You know that you have to hold that standard. You know you have to guard that path. And the jaguar is really calling you, you know, be more fierce. Be in that state that you say, okay, I'm not getting you in a friend zone. I'm not want to be friends with you anymore, or just go out of contact, you know, because you don't want to string someone along. And that's exactly what the card says. You know, you have to keep also yourself accountable for if you're on that journey, on that twin flame journey, to be able to keep yourself accountable also for the feelings of someone else. And sometimes we say, yeah, you know, what somebody else's feelings is their feelings. But when you're interacting with someone, you know, there are always feelings involved. Is always a mind involved. You know, there are always two people involved. So make sure that you make the right choice and that you don't dive into something that you will regret later on. And sometimes you will regret it, you know, years from now. And sometimes you regret it the second week or the third week or whatever. So make the conscious choices. There it comes again. And be in that energy of the jaguar. Okay. Inanna, Queen of Heaven for the Divine Feminine. Vulnerability, power, and wholeness. So the vulnerability we have within ourselves to explain the things to another person is power. You know, sometimes to be vulnerable is power. And it will make you whole. You know, it will make you whole regardless of how somebody else reacts. Regardless on, I just said we need to have, you need to be careful with each other's feelings. And that comes out in the vulnerability. So don't use the in a vulnerable state the words against someone. And Divine Feminine has a nose for it. You know, she says, if I'm opening up myself to this or that person, it will use it against me. But if she knows, you know, and she is vulnerable with a certain kind of man that has the consciousness and that is aware of the energies around him, she knows that she can share. And she is in that power. And she knows she will be healed from it because that person will take care of her feelings, will say, okay, you know, these feelings are really recognizable, and I feel what you feel. If you can't feel what another feels because of you're numb or of pain yourself, you know, then a whole other dynamic will exist. So in that vulnerability, you will heal yourself. Okay. Well, Divine Feminine, that's enough for today for the Divine Masculine and Divine Feminine, and I see you next time. Okay, all the love, all the blessings. Bye-bye.